Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Happy November.
Hello.
Happy almost .NET Conf. We are coming in hot to .NET 8's release. Very exciting. I am actually out in Redmond at the mothership right now. So I'm in one of the rooms we use for like the nice videos, but I'm just in it on my laptop. So you can like see the actual green screen up there and everything. So it's very fun. Yeah, we're out here. I'm out here prepping for .NET Conf. So that's exciting. And then we'll be back in 2 weeks, and David and I will be here to give a talk live in the studio.
Looking forward to it. We don't have to wear floral shirts again, do we?
I don't know. I might get one for you and just make you wear it, or I might like do
We did it
something.
last time. We can just be professional this time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You and me, so professional.
Twitch is saying they're not getting any sound. At least Code with Sean is
Oh
saying that.
no. Hold on. Let's see here.
I can check the bounce back
Yeah.
of sound on YouTube at least.
You are live. It says muted. No sound coming this way.
Yep, I'm definitely getting sound on YouTube.
Oh, sorry, Sean. Let me respond to him. I'm only on one monitor today, so it's going to be very difficult for me to keep up. So yeah, if this is your first community stand-up, hi, welcome to the party. This is we do this once a month, the first Thursday of the month, and we usually just go over some blogs that we saw, and feel free to always send them. Of course, we love to hear from you all. And then some, I'm trying to type in my Twitch code, some PRs and community submissions and packages and whatever Dave decides he wants to talk about this month. And then we have a guest. Of course, we have Paul from DevExpress. So thank you for joining, Paul.
Hi.
I don't know if you want to give a quick intro before we get into it.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to sharing our .NET MAUI component suite with everybody today. We're excited to be here, and I'll fill in everything as the show goes on.
Cool.
Nice.
So exciting. This is gonna be great. So I'm going to try to just share my browser window this time, and we'll see how that actually works, because again, I'm only on one screen. But let me start popping open my things here. Nice. Share, present, screen. Oh, I feel that. You got it. Okay. Share and add to stage. Exciting. Let me send the links to everybody in the chat real quick. Comments, post. I'm doing great. So, all right, we're going to hop right into it. First and foremost, my favorite blog of the year has come out. Halloween, the spookiest blog of all time. Look at how little the scroll bar is. So look at this. Look at all this. Look at all this. Look at all this. My God. So many of you remember last month, Stephen Tobe's performance improvements in .NET 8, which is the giant performance blog that was like 120 pages if you printed it out. We have our own version written by Peppers, Jonathan Peppers, who is giving a talk at .NET Conf on MAUI performance with, I believe, David Fowler and Damian Edwards, maybe. I can't remember.
Sounds right.
Yeah. Very exciting. And he writes his own giant blog post all about MAUI. So lots of app size improvements. And I think the thing that the most impressive for me has been memory leaks. Dave actually put together a slide, or Peppers put together a slide. I don't know which one of you put together the slide, but it shows like navigating to and from things and how much memory it was taking, and like the leaks, and then how much it's better in .NET 8. And it's nice to see. I think it's in here somewhere. It's probably down at the bottom.
Yeah, and I think that we may be able to get even a few more wins in on the memory leak situation before GA, or maybe it'll be in the first service release if it doesn't work out. We have a small window of time left, but a contributor reviewed every single control and identified a few more leaks that we can go after. And so Jonathan Peppers said, hey, I'll get to these things eventually, but if I just get a couple of other engineers to come work with me, we can crush these all
That's
and,
awesome.
and be even better. Yeah. So, we've certainly taken care of a lot of the big ones, but more goodness to come, I guess.
Very cool. I'm excited. It's gonna be good. So anyways, enjoy the blog, everybody, if you want to read it. And if you don't want to read it, watch Peppers talk in 2 weeks.
It's educational, that's for sure. I mean, there's some deep technical things going
Yeah.
on there, and you'll learn how to profile your own applications as well.
Yes, very
by
cool.
going through this.
Last year, I actually tried to review it, and I understood so little of it that this year I was like, I'm just gonna read it when it comes out, like everybody else. Like, it's fine. But anyway, speaking of .NET Conf happening 2 weeks, November 14th. You can check out the whole agenda, of course. The best part about .NET Conf is that there's a lot of community talks. And so the day 2 and day 3 are like significantly community heavy. A lot of familiar faces will be hosting and we'll be doing talks. We go through the night, Wednesday into Thursday, Pacific time, all the way to the end of the day, Thursday. So you are more than welcome to just like put it on in the background or like join in your time zone. And of course, they're all recorded and we upload them to YouTube later. But there's some amazing talks going on. Oh my goodness, this one I haven't actually seen yet. Blazor Puzzles and Answers with Jeff and Carl. That's going to be something else. Wow. So it's
there's a lot of really good content in there. People interested in .NET MAUI, please don't miss the keynote. I myself am looking forward to some of the featured customer stuff in there to see who's using .NET MAUI. And I think you may be very interested in that as well. So teaser, you're going to want to check that out. And then, of course, Maddy and I will have our session later in the day, which is always a blast. And Maddy has, I'll make sure she promises me I don't have to wear a Hawaiian shirt this time.
I don't know. I think you're a little unfun, but that's okay. So, 3:45 Pacific time is apparently when we're going to be taking the world by storm. So, should start those slides.
Speaking to yourself, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm speaking to myself. The .NET MAUI podcast, by the way, we haven't talked about it in a while. It's still going strong. So, speaking of awesome customer stories, we just had Polaris come on with Matt and talk about their migration to Maui. I believe we did an episode with them like years ago.
We did,
with Xamarin when they started their Xamarin journey or forms, and they've done their migration. We've worked really closely with them, and this is a really cool podcast to just give a listen to, especially if you're migrating. So, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, lots of good tips and tricks in there, I think, for everybody. Yeah. So if you're like, hey, how can I do this better, do this faster? I think that's kind of what this particular podcast is designed around. The Maui versions of the Polaris app that they are working on, I think are shipping soon. They're kind of in the final stages of QA. I think on the iOS side. I think the Android side went first. I'm misremembering. We also have a podcast that has been recorded and will be published soon for the Microsoft 365 SharePoint admin app.
Wow.
Which also is one of those with millions and millions of downloads. And they also, I think Mike Parker told me that they had shipped the Android version and are working on the iOS, but we can't force anybody to ship anything. So we wait for them to ship it and then we talk about it and celebrate it.
Love it. That's the way to go. And I think we have so I don't think we've announced one of the things that we're talking about at .NET Conf yet, so that's exciting. But Uno 5 is out as well, which I saw this week, which is awesome. They're really going into C# markup stuff, which I think is great. The Figma to C# markup export tool is very cool. So definitely check it out if you're a fan of Uno. We love Uno. We love Avalonia. We don't play favorites, people. So yeah, I mean, if you want to write like the kind of WinUI style XAML or now really C# markup, this is a great way to go. So
yeah, it's very cool to see what they've been able to do in this release. I will definitely be installing it myself and checking it out. Yeah. I'm a big C# markup fan myself. I use it in some of my MAUI apps. And this is the next version, the next iteration, so I can get a little sneak peek of what might come from MAUI as well.
Yeah. Sweet. All right. And then we have DotRush, which for those of you who are using VS Code, this is an alternate or maybe an add-on to the .NET MAUI extension and the C# dev kit we've shipped. It is totally open source, so enjoy. And this is actually from our friend who built .NET Meteor, right? Same person? Different person? Paul?
Same person.
Same person. Yeah, I'm right. At DevExpress. So if you're interested in a different sort of VS Code experience, check it out. I like these icons. I need to figure out how to get these icons in mind. So cool.
I didn't know anything about that. That's cool.
Yeah. I just got the email this morning. I'm glad I saw it. So I'm breaking the rules here for Burkus Cat because this isn't technically a blog and I like to share blogs. But just FYI, new simple MVVM framework came out. I was very excited to see this. That I always like when new MVVM stuff comes out because we can't make it easy. So everyone else is making it easy for us. And I appreciate that. But check this out, especially if you're missing like tiny MVVM or light MVVM. This might be something that works for you. So cool. And then finally, another not really blog because I already broke the rule once, so I'm going to break the rule one more time. But Exceed shipped their toolkit for MAUI, which is totally open source, which is cool. And their focus has really been on like a lot of the desktop stuff. So if this is something that you're interested in, check that out. I think we're going to learn a lot about DevExpress today, which was just awesome. And just so you know, there are like free/open source controls you can totally use. There are also paid ones that give you great support. And again, we don't play favorites. We love everybody. So this is one of your options. And feel free to compare and contrast everything to figure out which one's going to be the right one for you and your app. So that is it for me. Dave, are you ready for me to pop your screen up?
Go for it. Yeah.
Boom.
So you stole at least one of mine. I was going to do Burkus Cat.
Oh, sorry.
Who doesn't want another look at an MVVM framework, right? There's always room for improvement, or whittling down, which I kind of think is the approach that he was taking with that library. All right. So definitely check out .NET Conf. You'll see the banner at the top of this page. You've probably seen it at the top of all the Microsoft pages. Microsoft Ignite is the same week as .NET Conf, and we're going to be there as well. I've got a panel with some of the other .NET product managers, and we'll be talking about what's new for enterprise developers in .NET 8. Maddy, you're moderating a session, I think.
Yeah, on C# Dev Kit. So very exciting.
So that'll be great.
Yeah.
All right. So, but of course, the headline on this particular page, published just 2 days ago.
Yeah. Halloween, spooky.
Gerald Versluis put together. Sorry, Gerald, I know I just butchered your last name. UI testing with Appium and NUnit. So we have been using Appium for UI testing in MAUI. Of course, before that, we had Xamarin UI tests, but Appium kind of is a broader supported, all the platforms kind of a deal. And we wanted to kind of go in on that for future investments. And really, it's what we're kind of recommending for everybody who's looking for what is kind of the future forward-looking UI test framework that we can use with .NET MAUI. So here is your sample. There's a description of the project structure of the sample, some considerations for code sharing. We've already fixed the typo, but publishing takes up to 24 hours. So more gerbils, I think. We need some more hamsters on the wheel or something. I don't know. So yeah, and you don't write rests, you write tests. Again, some fat-fingered, but it's fixed. So yeah, good. Did you just catch that?
Yeah.
So good examples in here. Gerald did a nice job on this. As a matter of fact, I think he has a video up now. I saw that on LinkedIn. So you can get the video, come browse the code, check the code out. The code is, as with all of our samples, in the .NET MAUI samples repo. And we have version 7 .NET samples here. You can also find version 8. So we are in the process of updating all the samples and demos to .NET 8. fixing issues as we find them. Most of these, if not all of them, no, I would say most, we've added some new samples since, came from Xamarin. So this also helps us to validate the compatibility and the consistency with Xamarin along the way. So if you're looking for .NET 8 samples today and you don't want to wait for .NET Conf when everything changes over, yeah, it's all in a branch here. You can come check it out. All right. Back to Mr. Jonathan Peppers. He probably featured this in his blog post, but I saw the pull request and wanted to highlight it. The AOT profile for based on .NET 8 GA has been updated. The profile is essentially we go do a recording of the startup of a application running with .NET 8. Then that tells us the hot paths that we need to AOT while the rest of the application can JIT, just-in-time compile. And so you can see that improvements occurred. So we went from 557.9 milliseconds to 551 over an average of 10 runs on a Pixel 5. Pixel 5 is not even that new of a device these days. So that's really nice. I think performance is something that, as Jonathan talked about in his blog post, something we kind of always keep an eye on, but this past period was more of an opportunistic approach to doing performance improvements. In the next iteration, next semester plus, leading into .NET 9, we're going to have some more specific goals around performance. And all in all, even without making it a big deal, wins occurred. So that's awesome. And I think some of that's just benefit of being part of .NET. We get to benefit from all the latest advancements from Stephen Tobe and all the other engineers working on those things. Did you notice, or maybe I'll go to this. Did you notice that we have NuGet package in .NET 8? We've been shipping NuGet packages of the .NET 8 controls package since preview 1. So this means that you don't have to update your workload. We do encourage you to stay on the latest workload because it is made to be compatible with each of these versions. But you can actually test. So let's say that you installed RC1 and you want to test RC2. You can update RC2 via your NuGet package manager. Did you know?
Fancy.
Yeah, pretty exciting. This is super convenient because then you don't have to go flattening your machine and reinstalling .NET and all those sorts of things just to kind of take a look at what's coming or what's next from .NET MAUI. And we have actually shipped a couple of new releases on RC2. So 9373, 9511. Basically, at this point, we have the option with Visual Studio Preview to ship weekly. And so we've been doing that. And that means that you're getting more and more bug fixes at the end of the release. We actually were talking in a planning meeting recently about, well, what's going to be in Service Release 1? We were going to ship a preview of Service Release 1 at GA. And Shane, who's kind of been managing the schedule recently, said, well, we kind of have already been shipping everything in these weekly cadenced releases. So we don't really have anything left. Like, there's going to be something, of course, but the things that we had been kind of expecting to ship after GA, well, they're going to be in GA now. So everybody can enjoy that.
Wow.
But if right.
That's exciting.
That's my perspective. Don't hold it back. Ship it. And one of the reasons that we're doing the NuGet packages, by the way, and shipping, we'll work through the process of making sure we can safely ship previews and keep everybody on the happy path of versioning, because we don't want to get into a versioning problem, is so that we can get more preview eyeballs on our packages, which we really haven't been able to do in .NET 6 and .NET 7. You kind of, the first time anybody in the world really sees those releases is when they ship stable. And we want more usage on a preview basis so that we can catch regressions before they land in your production applications. So yeah, you can check out the release notes here, all up on GitHub, of course. And let's see here. Did I close that window? Oh, I closed the window. We actually have another RC2 bump coming for next week, which has a handful of additional bug fixes. So you can look forward to that. All right, just a couple more. And then I'm excited to see what Paul has for us. If you are curious, what does it take to get from .NET 7 to .NET 8? Well, fundamentally, for the most part, you can probably just change your target reference in your CS project from 7 to 8, and you'll happily be able to build, probably. You can explicitly add package references for the MAUI controls. And if you're using it, the MAUI controls compatibility package. You'll notice that in the new templates, the version is using this variable here, this MS build, or I guess CS proj. I think it's MS build variable. Where does MAUI version actually come from? It comes from the workload that you have installed, or from the NuGet package that you have in your path. By default, it's going to come from the workload that's installed on your machine. And so when you do upgrade from NuGet to, say, some future version, this will end up getting overwritten with an explicit version number like this. And if you want to do it at the project level as opposed to at the package reference level, you can still use this MAUI version variable, but you can specify it like this, MAUI version. The only thing I'll caution you on is as soon as you do this, then the NuGet package manager doesn't know anything about this. So remember, you did it intentionally. And so if you want to get back on the workload version, or you want to get back to what NuGet package manager is doing, you'll want to comment that out or get rid of that. And we also have nightly feeds. There are a few other changes you could make to your application. Either if you're using maps, for example, the namespace has slightly changed, or some of these other things like WinUI no longer requires the application GUID value. You can use the reverse domain like everything else now. So there's an update there you can make. If you don't make it, I think your application continues working just fine. We also made the project templates turn on nullable, I guess, by default. And so you could turn that on now if you want to, or just be anticipating that your next application is going to have it enabled. And we do have documentation coming for all this. As a matter of fact, all of this content here in the little wiki was pulled right from David Britch's, sorry, David, from his document that will be published when .NET 8 goes GA. And from the community, I found this little project, which is pretty slick. So this is Drawn UI using Skia Sharp. And this developer has published a NuGet package for this. It is pre-alpha, so, come check this out and see how cool it is, but with the right expectations. And essentially, you've got a whole suite, not a whole suite, but a pretty decent starting point of all drawn controls. And so if you're like, I've really been looking forward to ditching native controls, but I want to stick with .NET MAUI, this is one option for you. So maybe something you might want to contribute to and check out. There's a bunch of animation and drawing things in here. You can see what are the pre-built UI elements, shapes, labels, images, Lottie, Rive, really cool stuff, layouts, scrolling, hotspots. There's some derived controls. There's also some animated effects. So I found this today and I thought it looked pretty cool. I haven't had a chance to play with it myself, but I will certainly be doing that. And that's what I got for you right now. We're going to have, I didn't want to bring everything because I don't want to spoil .NET Conf. So join us in a couple of weeks. We'll have lots of good demos and cool stuff. And I will gladly, Maddy, help you with the slides. I wasn't trying to make.
I don't want your help.
Okay. It's understandable. It's understandable because I'm old and not fun.
Right. I get it. So it's all right. We still love you. I'm just kidding. I need Dave's help because he does the best demos and I just make slides. So anyways, Paul, great timing, Dave, in a half hour too. Like nailed it. So once again, Paul, for those of you who joined since, we've actually had quite a people join. So thank you everybody for tuning in, even though I tweeted about this the second we went live. Paul works at DevExpress. It's 3:30 a.m. right now for him. He is in Australia. So thank you, Paul, for
is.
joining and being a champ. He seems to be totally unfazed by this. I would be crying. So I appreciate it. But yeah, Paul, you've got a bunch of great stuff for us. So I'll let you hop right into it.
Thank
you
you.
ready for me to share your screen?
Yes, please. Yes, absolutely.
Boom.
So, hi everyone. I've been a tech evangelist here at DevExpress for going on 11 years. So the 3 a.m. presentations are just not a problem at all. Absolutely love it. And it's when David was talking about the upgrade to .NET 8, I think the only thing I had to do in my project was add that extra reference to the MAUI controls, which was really seamless and perfect. So, bit of quick background on myself. I've been a mobile developer since 1992. Yes, I'm that old. Working on Scion platforms in the UK and then across all the different ecosystems that have been around, including the early versions of Microsoft mobile technologies. Anybody remember the HP iPac, WinC and things like that? All good fun. So just let me prepare a couple of things here and we can get straight into it. So first of all, we're thrilled to have the opportunity to connect here with the community through the show. It's a real privilege to be here. And it's a pleasure to see the .NET MAUI environment evolving and empowering .NET developers to create cross-platform apps really fast using existing code and skills. Now, DevExpress, we're a company that's been providing components all the way back since 1998. And we couldn't be more excited to be part of this transformative shift that's happening. With that extensive experience we've got, it's driven us to contribute to this dynamic ecosystem by developing a comprehensive set of .MAUI controls. And as shown on screen, they are free. See, we see the power of MAUI and we think that the components are going to help the community grow faster. And it's not a sales pitch. They are absolutely free. You can download them today. You can start using them today. You just need to visit the site to obtain your copy, register, and then the license you receive will grant you access to our components indefinitely. So it's not some kind of clickbait or anything like that. We did the same with our Xamarin Form components, and obviously this is a natural progression of things. What I'm going to do is give you a quick overview of some of the components and key features that are included, and then I'm going to demonstrate using a emulator, but on an Android device, just to take you through some of those. And one of the things that we found, I suppose, a distinctive feature that sets our product line apart from others is that our controls are wrappers around native high-performance mobile controls. So if you're developing for iOS, then the control that's being run on the device has been written in Objective-C. If you're deploying to Android, then the control you're going to see has been written in Kotlin and Java. Now, as you'd expect, I'll switch tabs. This is my first time using StreamYard, so anything goes with demos, right?
Right.
As you'd expect, our suite includes a data grid and staple control to allow you to display, edit, and shape data within your application. It's designed to be fast and address the typical usage scenarios, and I'm going to demo some of those in a little while. Next, there's a collection view. Now, we've chosen to create our own collection view, and I'll go into this in a bit more detail, but the idea behind it is that it's blazing fast at that rendering level, and it's going to grant you exceptional scrolling performance. It supports horizontal and vertical item representation, infinite scrolling, filtering UI, and a ton of other things. We've got our charts, which provide over 22 different diverse chart types, typical bar chart, pie chart, line charts, but we also do financials and some other cool things in charting. Pretty much offering a unique view to present and analyze data with support for interaction, such as crosshair cursors, tool tips, not ships, we ship tools, tool tips, and everything, or providing summary back to the user on the chart. We'd be rude if we didn't mention the scheduler control. So if you're creating anything with event management, appointment-based or task management, then this is a control that's going to save you a lot of time. Full support for data binding, appointment editing, recurring appointments, representation of multiple views such as a day, a week, a work week, as well as months. Of course, most of this stuff is then built on top of our editor components. So whether it's simple checkboxes, chip controls, autocompletes, on-demand data loading based on previous user input, editor masks, helping you validate user details. There's also our data editor form, which I'll be showing you, which automatically generates all of the editors based on a bound data object. And as with all of the controls that we're going to look at, the editors are all styled according to the newest Material Design 3 guidelines. We're going to take a look at our tabs and pop-ups, whether it's a bottom sheet that you want to display, a confirmation dialog, a context menu. We've provided some really easy tooling to drive that. And if there's one thing that the DevExpress.NET MAUI team is passionate about, it's the unwavered dedication to delivering a true mobile user experience. And if you've done any work in mobile development, you'll understand that there's some nuances that really have to be drawn out during that. So we have worked hard to get rid of some of the desktop design patterns and implement user-friendly mobile interfaces. Now, if you're shifting from desktop to mobile, you'll be surprised just how important some controls like the button sheet might be for your application. And again, when we get into the demo, we'll take a look. One of the things that we've done to help kickstart your development journey is introduce the Visual Studio extension with project templates. Now, these templates streamline your workflow. They automatically register the DevExpress handlers. They add the relevant namespaces, incorporate any NuGets according to your selection. All you need to do is simply install the extension, create a new Visual Studio project, and then you'll have the flexibility to select different layout types and control sets. Everything that I go through today is predicated on you registering that license. You'll then get access to the DevExpress NuGet feed, and everything is explained in our ready to go getting started guide on the website. One of the things as an evangelist that I hear a lot of across the world is just how powerful the support center and our documentation is. So it's a great place to get started with any of those things. We've covered the theory, so now let's actually take a look at some of these controls in real time. I'm hoping that using StreamYard, that the rendering and things will give the experience, but you can also download the demo app from the Google Play Store. If you're running iOS, then you need to download the source code from my GitHub repo, which we'll post links on, and compile and run that on your device. And that's just due to some iOS or App Store limitations that or policies that we're fighting at the moment. So Maddy and Dave, just let me know if anything goes awry with the UI parts here, but we're running a Samsung Galaxy S7 using the Genymotion emulator. And as far as testing tools go, I just want to give a quick shout out to Genymotion because the performance of this emulator, their emulators, is really, really nice when working with .NET MAUI.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this looks great. I'm so far so good, I think. There you go.
Excellent. No pressure, right? So we'll start by taking a look at a component that's used in almost every mobile application, and that's a collection view. Now we understand that the .NET MAUI control suite already includes a collection view. We created our own from scratch using those native controls so that we can achieve some of the best performance applicable. Now we've got this, I suppose, rather complex item template here. But when I'm running this on a real device, I can scroll and there is no lag, there is no slowdown during that scrolling. And we've achieved this by using custom virtualization and a technique that we call cascade updates, which basically means that we're distributing the methods evenly across the UI thread, making sure that the control stays responsive whilst you're doing that threading, that scrolling. Wanting to deliver that top-notch mobile experience, we've included some functionalities and features that you can implement straight into your apps. Now, anytime that you're displaying a lot of data, so in this case, a real estate list, you want to start doing some filtering. We've got some UI filter elements that's going to help you effortlessly implement in a true mobile style. Now, you can implement these elements to a separate page or a bottom sheet, and you're going to provide an experience for your users that they're familiar with. Here, if I click on the filter, we can see I've got a number of different things. I've got my chips, I've got my editor controls for numerics, I can scroll down. Here for location, I want to draw out to the fact that I need a predefined list. So as I tap on this element, I've got my predefined list. I can filter that further with a search box. I can select an item, and it's automatically going to feed back into the filter. We can display that on a bottom sheet or a pop-up or a separate page. But the important thing here is that as it's implemented, is fed straight back into that collection view. Now, you may think that that would be a complex thing to implement. Switch to the right screen. It's a little weird because the browser has to be somewhere else on my screen today. Here we go. Here we can see that the implementation of that filter is not complex. All I've had to do is define a data template with the filter items, and the collection view is going to take care of all the heavy lifting. And that includes the navigation, the merging, and the seamless application of those filters from different editors. Now, another common thing that you're wanting to do with mobile applications is going to be CRUD operations. So let's jump into our simple contacts list. Anybody that's tried to work through this type of application can understand that there can be a lot going on when it comes to working through the common create, edit, delete, update scenarios. Typically, you might be creating new forms or having to bring in new pages, try and pass data across different models. But what we've achieved with our collection view CRUD API helps you streamline this whole process. The collection view itself can generate the default details. So as I tap onto one of these elements here, we've got our form, editor form, that can populate this based on that business model. I didn't have to register an extra form here and provide the navigation or the stack monitoring. It's all happening within the control. We've passed the information into the view screen, and if I tap on the edit icon, that's going to bring it into the editor screen. Within each of the editors, we've got the ability of offering validation. We can make sure that the information that's being passed back to the data object is free from all of those pesky errors. So if I just come in here and type in Maddy, can't remember Maddy's email address, but that's all right. Save, no, I've got the error. It's not going to allow me to go back unless I correct that error. And I won't embarrass myself by getting Maddy's email address wrong. Hopefully I can type mine. So the control itself, along with all the documentation that we've got, the GitHub examples, it becomes a really simple task to actually implement CRUD functionality. I'm going to switch to the grid view in a second, but as an aside, just to show you that the grid view and the collection view incorporate a lot of the same features when it comes to mobile functions. What we can see here is on the collection view, I've got swiping, and I've got the ability of doing the long swipe and automatically delete, short swipe to bring up items, etc. And implementing this again in markup is very, very simple. Let's switch to the all-important data grid. Here we've got just a generic list of people. We can see that we've implemented grouping. So out of the box, turn on grouping, and I've got a position title. I've got the ability of sorting. I'm going to show you filtering in a second, but other things such as the fact that I've got a fixed column. So when you're working with real estate that's limited, you don't have to lose certain things. You can implement a number of these things. We've got the ability to do summaries, fixed columns. One feature is the ability to export straight out to other file formats. And I'm going to cover the Office APIs a little later. There are some caveats with that, but imagine you've got this data and you want to be able to send it as an Excel spreadsheet, boom. You can then just export that data straight from the grid and off it goes. I mentioned the fact that we did the swiping, which is supported inside the grid view as well as the control view. You've got the ability to do editing. All this passing back, updating your data model. Virtual scrolling so that you're not left with having to do pagination. Or for example, pull to refresh, something that we've all become familiar with inside our mobile applications. It's always good when those numbers change when I do that. So staple controls for managing or showing data, the grid, the collection view. I mentioned earlier about the charts. So we've got your stock standard style charts, your bar charts done in different ways, the ability to bring up summaries and tooltips. A myriad of different chart types, including financial. But then you start getting into real world usage. And you want to see things that say, okay, I know that we've got clients in the medical profession that want real time feedback across their charts. So if we have a look here, we're getting that real time, high performance feedback across the charts.
And for those charts, Paul, are you drawing that using the native graphics APIs? Because you mentioned with the other controls, it's all, Objective-C for iOS and Kotlin Java for Android. So
correct. So everything is rendered using native libraries.
Okay.
I mentioned the scheduler. Have a quick look in. Simple calendar control. As you'd expect, you can drill into the month, you can drill into the year. Look at what you've got to do for the
year that was.
Drill into appointments, edit the appointments. We've got full support for recurring appointments. Come through and set things up. So don't forget, first Thursday of every month, .NET MAUI Community Standup. Have it in your calendar. Shameless plug for you there, Maddy.
Love it. Thank you.
Along with the day view, there's a work week view, normal week view, or month view. All of these elements are customizable, so you're not stuck just using a particular predefined layout. You've got the ability to work with that. One thing I want to call out as well is the fact that all of the controls follow, well, I already mentioned that we follow the material design guidelines, but you can then come through and very easily just choose or update your color scheme. So pick a new base color, which you can apply from anything. And then everything we do is now going to use that base color.
Can I ask a question about the styling there?
Sure.
So of course, if I'm using your library here and I have a couple of your controls, but then I've got a bunch of, in the box MAUI controls. Are those styles exposed so that I could style my stuff using your colors? And then as I change the theme, kind of like you just did, my controls also reflect that change?
That's a great question. How come we didn't do this in the pre-check? I'm, I'm going to defer that to one of the team and give you an answer, hopefully
I'll file
before
an
the end of the
enhancement request.
presentation.
How's that?
What I have found is just the same as in a standard MAUI project, you can set up your color scheme, like your color XML or one of your color palettes. You can also do that with our controls as well. So there's multiple ways to skin the proverbial cat, I suppose. But in answer to your direct question, I'll find out.
Sounds good. That's a good answer.
Anybody that's used mobile development or anybody that's used to mobile development understands that when you've got a form that's going to pop up and display complex information or grab information from a REST service, there could be that time where the user sat wondering what's going on. So we've introduced what we call the Shimmer view. And the page will literally display what the user is going to expect and then populate. And you might have seen this in some other apps. Facebook, for example, does it, but it's a great add-on to be able to create that expectation and that user experience, which of course is what is going to keep somebody using your app versus going to something else if you're looking at paid, or just the frustration if you're using enterprise level apps. It just makes the interface a lot more user-friendly. We talked about some of the data editors. Most apps would feature something like a settings form. And what we allow you to do is effortlessly arrange items into groups, implement single and multiple value selectors, create menu items with custom templates, or simply arrange toggle buttons with icons. The whole idea here is that the control set is designed to allow you to focus on the functionality of your app and not pixel perfect placement or the UI aspect. That's what we do for you. Now, according to best mobile design practices, item selection is best available in a pop-up or a bottom sheet. And if you need something like a lookup or a search field, pull that out to a separate page. We saw an example of that before inside the collection view. But the idea is you just bind your item source to your collection and choose the required mode, and we take care of the rest. I'm going to jump back to the browser just for a second and call out some of the scenarios that we've got on the website. And again, it's a great resource if you're getting started, either just with .NET MAUI, but also our controls. And we've got this expansive list of featured scenarios. And with every one of these, we provide an example and how to work through things. So doing forms-based authentication, we have another free product, which is a DevExpress web API service. Could do a whole other session just on that one. Providing role-based access, how to implement context menus. The list just goes on. And as I said, with every one of these, there's the source code repo to play around with. It allows you to delve into any of these topics and actually replicate or implement that into your own application. Doesn't time fly when you're having fun?
It does. This is gorgeous. This is really nice.
I'm like mesmerized. I don't even have anything to add. I'm just kind of like, wow.
So I want to show you something that nobody else has seen yet. I'm running obviously a slightly newer version of the demo app that the team kindly provided me. But one of the things that we've implemented is our image edit. Now the product line is evolving and new features are being delivered regularly. And as with everything, I'm not even calling them service pack drops, but regular updates, the NuGet packages get updated and you get access to a lot of goodness. Let's take a look at the image edit. You're setting up a mobile app, you want somebody to add their profile or their profile picture, and you want an easy way to do it. Enter the image edit control. I can take a photo. Now, thankfully, that's using this, not picture of me. Snapshot the photo, happy with that. Bring it back into the control. You get to control whether you're the actual frame layout. You get to rotate your image. You get to mirror, horizontal or vertical. And when you're happy, just accept that and straight back in. Simple thing to demonstrate. If you've ever tried implementing that yourself through normal controls, we're taking the pain out of that for you. Another cool control that is heading your way is the full HTML WYSIWYG editor. Now, this is a little more interesting to show, especially on the emulator, but I can just start typing. What we're going to notice is that we've got this dynamic toolbar. Obviously, I can go Maddy and then David. Don't know why David's in bold, but I think, yeah.
People shout.
Change the
Maddy,
background
it
color.
happens.
Background color to blue, foreground color to white, and we're going to go with Paul. As you can see, we've got support for HTML headings, ordered list, font sizing. As I go through each thing, I can implement links. We can see here images, and just the ability to then work with that markup directly on your device. Now, I'm showing this on a mobile, on a phone form. You could implement this obviously on your tablets, but provide that rich functionality that your users are looking for back into your application. No longer do you have to try and display PDFs in a browser. We've implemented our new PDF viewer control. So you can work with these documents directly in your app. And as with all of the controls that I've demoed so far, it's fast. You're not going to see any freezing during scrolling. Now, this demo doesn't cover it, but we've already implemented support for bookmarks, single page mode, searching, and other features. And you, as a developer, get to choose what you're going to display on the toolbar for your users. So you control all of the different aspects. And that's something that you're not going to be able to get if you're embedding your PDF inside a web view. We're going to take that one step further, and hopefully the emulator gods are going to be good and allow me to switch applications. Look at that. And here's an order application, nice and simple. I can tap on an order. We've got this bottom sheet, which obviously I could expand to see everything. I could edit, but I'm interested in the PDF. And the scenario here is that you've delivered some items and you want the client to sign off on the PDF. View the PDF, and you'll notice that there's the signature button. I can click that. And we're using the .NET MAUI toolkit drawing pad, which I actually found really, really easy to implement as a replacement for an older control back in Xamarin Form days. Customer signs, and boom, it's now on the PDF. Now
that's exactly like my signature. It's exactly how I do it.
I'm gonna use that for all my future requisitions. The thing that's happening here is that we're not just dumping an image onto the PDF. We actually look for an acro field for the signature and then insert that image into it. We're also using cryptographic algorithms to create the electronic signature. Now, you've noticed that, or you may have noticed, it might be a little small, but the data in this document has come from the data item that I selected in the collection view. And our report engine makes that possible. You can design a report layout, bind it to your data source, and then the library is going to generate the PDF at your request. Now, I did mention before, like with the Excel export, the document processing is part of our enterprise. I'm going to say enterprise, but we see it more as an enterprise level application, and that's not part of the free libraries. That's part of our paid subscription for something else, but it is there and it's available and will save a ton of time if you're working with file APIs, PDFs, etc. A couple of things that I want to call out as we sort of come to a close of our time. I know that Maddy did give you a bit of grace on running over a little bit, but I mentioned earlier about the reporting. We've talked about, or Maddy gave a shout out to .NET Meteor, which is written by one of our amazing devs, Nikita. He is also responsible for writing .rush. Now, when Microsoft announced that they were retiring Visual Studio for Mac, after I had my big dummy spit, cried for a week, and then looked at alternatives, one of the teams said to me, use Visual Studio Code. And I was like, it's a text editor. I've been using it as a text editor for a decade. I'm not touching it. And then they said, no, seriously, Paul, it's no longer the poor sibling of Visual Studio. It's a real contender. And I installed .NET Meteor. I installed .rush, and man, I'm actually using VS Code as my .NET MAUI design tool right now, which I could have, if you'd have said a month ago that I'd be doing that, I would have laughed at you, but phenomenal stuff. While we're talking of Visual Studio Code, we've just released, it's in CTP, but we've just released our reporting designer, which is just phenomenal. Being able to get UI level editing, so using the designer to create reports and add them into your applications. So there's some blogs, Maddy has already put the links up to allow you to play around with that. It is, yeah, just really, really exciting to see that natural progression of what's happening out there. Now, the other thing I want to just mention, .NET MAUI is, as an organization, we feel is so stable, so production ready. And I know if you read different blog posts or you look at different groups, there's a lot of thoughts and things out there. But with .NET 8, the team have just noticed the performance difference. There's the stability. And we've got clients out there that are confirming that. They send us things like these screenshots here from one of our amazing clients. They made the decision to move from Java Kotlin to .NET MAUI. And the application that they had more than 100 different views with complex business logic. Their transition was so smooth. And I know that I've got, I can think of at least half a dozen clients here in Australia that have made the move from Xamarin Forms up to MAUI. And for us, it's just that validation of the time, effort, and resources that we're putting into all of these controls and helping build that community by making them available to everybody for free.
That is outstanding. That's amazing. I had no idea you were going to share a customer story. That's great.
And compliment us in the process. So thank you.
I want to just finish with a charming creation that the team actually crafted in the spirit of .NET MAUI. It's an actual wooden figurine as a symbol of the platform and the fact that it's going to bestow good luck upon all of us on our .NET MAUI journey. And we've really enjoyed creating components for .NET MAUI. We see the platform evolving every month. In fact, sooner than that with those nightly builds and the new cadence. And we certainly hope that our free components can be useful for the entire community. Please register, download a copy, reach out to me on any of the media, the support center, the documentation that we've got available. Our team's completely behind it. And yeah, let's keep making greatness together.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Cool. This was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I will send the links one more time before I forget. And they'll also be at the show notes afterwards. So you could always look at that on MAUI Stand-Up November. And thank you so much, Paul, for coming on and showing us everything. I mean, the prep we gave him was show up, do your thing. So and I think you did a great job. So
thank you. I'm just gonna call out the comment or question that came in about desktop support.
Oh.
So in a nutshell, we've focused on delivering the best possible mobile experience for .NET MAUI. We offer our WinForm and WPF components for desktop. And at this stage, we wanted just to make sure that we became the leader in the mobile platform. So we understand that that might not suit absolutely everybody's scenario, but certainly as a I'm going to call myself a veteran developer. Man, I'm feeling old these days. Then I know that if I'm developing something that is, for me, cross-platform is mobile cross-platform, phone, tablet. If I'm wanting a full desktop experience, then I'm going to look at other things. My desktop UIs are going to be different in many ways to that. So, but yeah.
Cool.
I haven't tried it, but I would imagine that your iOS controls work just fine on the Mac because we use all the iOS UI kit stuff. Unless there's anything that blocks it. The Windows side is where there would need to be something specific.
So
you
absolutely.
might be getting Mac for free.
So if you deploy it as a runnable on Mac, then it does definitely work.
Nice.
Very cool.
Gorgeous.
Sweet. Well, I'm going to cut you loose. Happy November, everybody. And we're coming into the holiday season for a lot of folks. So happy holidays coming up. We will be back next month. Let us know what you want to hear or see. And hopefully we see you in a couple of weeks in the chat and on the internet for .NET Conf. And that's that. So thanks. And we'll see you in a month.
See ya. Bye.